Howdy, howdy, folks. Um, Decided to do a little bit more fiddling around with the camera and playing around with uh, something I just learned. So let's bring up my second camera and uh, flower weave for scales and rings isn't old, but I just learned it last night. Pretty easy pattern, couple different ways to learn. Um, I picked mine up from the initial pattern for me was from a company called Metal Designs. So let me go ahead and try to go to here. And let's go ahead and change that. Yes, good. Okay, so looks like everything is showing correctly on your guys' side. So that was just a kit from a company called Metal Designs. They're Canadian, so all the prices are in Canadian dollars, not in American dollars. So if you're here in America, you'll actually save a couple of bucks when you are purchasing things from over there, because again, slightly different exchange rate between currencies. Wow, the morning meds are wearing off, and Richie is getting a little aphasic. So now this is not from the kit. That kit has scales that are this size and super tiny rings. So what I'm going to do is I looked up the flower pattern, found a YouTube video that was from the Ring Lord, which had slightly different ring sizes, and I'm actually using slightly different ring sizes from that, because for a large ring, I don't have the 19 gauge that they say that I should be using, which is, I think, 930 seconds or something like that. So I'm actually using 18 gauge 1/4 instead, and it seems to be working for me for the most part, especially for what I'm about to try to do. So I'm about to try to do a variation I haven't tried yet, because last night I was working in small, started working in large, figured out this little hack. Actually, I figured out this little hack this morning with the rings. There's a medium-sized set of rings that I have that I wanted to basically, see if I can find and do a medium-sized flower, which, surprise, surprise, I figured out using stuff I have where I can actually do just a medium flower if I wanted, which for my medium, for my center ring, I'd be using 16 5/16, and for all the outside sandwich rings, I'd be using that same 16 5/16 gauge, but I'm actually doing something even different than that. I am going to try to do a triple flower that I saw. So for the basic flower, you're going to start off with 5 petals. After the 5 petals, you are going to need your 10 sandwich rings, your center ring. You are going to need 5 rings to connect what I call the sandwich rings, and then you're going to need 10 rings to connect the scales to that center ring. Now, your ring sizes are going to vary depending on the size of scales and everything that you're using. I am using 16 gauge 3/8 for both the center ring and what I call the sandwich rings, and I'm using 18 gauge 1/4 for my the rings that are going to basically uh, seal those sandwich rings together. And the reason that they're going to be called sandwich rings is because they're going to be on the outside of scales and on the inside of scales, and it's going to be what holds the scales in place. So if you look here, it's really hard because everything is the same color. Get a pointer thingamajigger. So stop, behave. So I've got 18 gauge 1/4, and these are attaching to the scales. Then those are going to attach to my 16 gauge 3/8 that I have in the center. I'm going to have a 16 gauge 3/8 pass through the front side of my flower between each of the petals. And then on the back side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have that 16 gauge 3/8 pass through a ring on each petal, on each side of the petal, to connect them together. And then I'm going to use this 18 gauge 1/4 to go ahead and connect those two sandwich rings to go ahead and make sure that things aren't quite as floppy. And you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. All right. So first things first is let's go ahead and get 10 of my rings on my scales so that I can go ahead and attach all those scales to that center ring. So before I started everything today, I went ahead and opened all my rings, just so there wasn't as much dead air and me hyper focusing on that and forgetting to talk to the camera. Because we all know how squirrel I can get. For those who don't know, I'm a 50-year-old man who was recently diagnosed with ADHD, although most folks who knew me pretty much when I said, hey, it's official, they're like, about time. And I just started my meds a couple weeks ago, so I am still adjusting to them, and we are trying to figure out what the right meds are. So sometimes I'm a little extra squirrely, and I apologize. Back in my day, the cure for ADD was just an ass whooping. Which is seriously how my parents got me through it as a child. I don't recommend it as the best method, but apparently sometimes it at least gets the job done if it does not fix the situation entirely. Now, there is no real clear-cut decision in the color pattern that I'm using, as I just wanted to make sure I had scales that were contrasting to the other components that I'm using. So I'm using orange scales, I'm using bright aluminum rings, and then I've got a mirror polished small scale and a black anodized aluminum for the medium scale for what I'm going to try. So now all I do is I take my 5 petals and I pass those 10, 18 and a quarter rings through a larger center ring. Now, most of the patterns from Metal Designs that was talked about, it has this center ring as a smaller size ring than your outside sandwich rings. I kind of like having it this way myself personally. And for the medium flower, what I did is, again, 5/16 inner diameter for my center ring and my sandwich rings, and then for all the connector rings and for the rings that are going to connect these sandwich layers together, I just still used 18 1/4, and I think they look pretty decently. I don't have those currently, though I have no idea where Misty and the kids put them. I made one in black and gold for Crow, one in pink and black for Brittany, and one in blue and silver for Misty. And they seemed to like the way that it looked, and they were happy with it. So again, this is a triple scale flower, which we're going to start with making a large flower, and then from the large flower, we're going to connect the medium-sized scales into that large flower after the large flower is completed. And then after we've got all the medium scales hooked in, we are going to hook in the smallest scales. And I'm just doing this in 3 different colors to have a nice contrast to see how everything is going to look. So now I've got my scales lined up. And I apologize. I do not mean to be flipping off the camera. It's holding pliers. It gets hard to point correctly and not be kind of a jerk. So what I'm going to do is basically, with my little pointer here, I'm going to connect the 2 closest rings in each scale with this larger size ring right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to complete that going all the way around. So here we are. Here we are, face to face, couple of silver spoons. Sorry. 80s sitcom with my boy Rick Schroeder. Although, yeah, I still call him Ricky. Because in my mind, he will always be Ricky Schroeder. And I understand he does not like to be called Ricky. And I don't care. Because I don't think I'm ever going to meet the man for it to become an actual issue. And Rick Schroeder, if for some reason you actually do end up watching this, and you do take offense, I apologize. The man was a hell of an actor. I don't know if he's still active in anything. I don't watch a whole heck of a lot of stuff. Oh, one thing I should have mentioned is you want to make sure that when you are doing everything, that your scales are facing the same direction. And what I mean by that is these scales have a slight cant to them, a slight tilt, a slight kink. They're kinky. So it's convex on the outside, convex on the inside. You want to make sure that the inside is all going to be that convex instead of that, or sorry, that concave instead of that convex, and the outside is going to be the convex instead of the concave. And of course, I've got everything mucked up with my flipping things around, so I had to find where I was. And this should complete the inside rounds. Yes. Yay! We're halfway through the completion of the main body of the large flower. So there we go. We got everything. The way that the springs are flopping doesn't really matter at this moment. It only matters at the end when I go to actually connect the rings between that are sandwiching the petals here. So we go ahead and flop it over the opposite direction. And we do the same thing on the back side. So since I'm being told I need to start doing more of my mail and maybe sell a few pieces and things like that. That's why I started looking for other things to do. I need to get comfortable with starting 3-in-1 half version from scratch in opposing directions before I try to do the owls with you. I have not created an owl yet myself. I do plan on trying to attempt one here in the very near future. But there's this thing to kind of obtain. And then I've got some patterns for some butterflies and some fairies and some angels that will work good as keychains, just little danglies, possibly even pendants. Or come back around Christmas time, they might make some good ornaments. Now, you will probably end up seeing me make some specialized angels. Because when I got the angel pattern, I knew exactly what I was going to do with it, and I am going to try not to tear up like a weepy bitch as I talk about what I'd like to do with it. So there are a large number of folks in my life who have passed, and that I miss sorely and dearly. And I figured I might make an angel for all the members of my family who have gone before. And for those who are not familiar with my term of gone before, it is my view of the path of life and everything like that. We are currently on the path of life. We have people that we love who have gone before to scout out what is ahead in the next stage. Passed on, gone before, passed away. However you want to call it, however you want to say it, that's what that means to me. So, if you hear me talking about something in honor of those who have gone before, it's those who have gone on to the next stage and await us, be it Valhalla, be it heaven, be it hell with one L or two L's. Yes, there's a hell with two L's. In the Norse traditions, there is a goddess named Hel, Hel. You have seen her represented in Thor Ragnarok. She is an actual goddess in the Norse pantheon. She is the goddess of death and of an afterlife. It is actually her forces that will come against Odin and the folks in Asgard come Ragnarok. But hers is not a place of torment. It is a place of just desserts. Meaning, and if you end up in her realm, you could have a cozy little cottage somewhere, or you could end up, being flayed alive by something nasty and hungry that wants to eat you for breakfast. But to get back out of the morbid vein and back into here, what I'm trying to do is my 18 and a quarter rings that are right here, I need to open up. And basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be laying these medium scales in kind of like that. And then I'm going to go around with the medium scales and attach them that way. But because I did a halfway decent job of closing my rings, it is hard to see where the splits are. So it's time to turn into Old Man Rich. Alrighty then. With the power of bifocals, I see not a damn thing. Haha! I've found one. So I'm going to open you up. I'm going to figure out what the hell you want. No. And I am going to put you on like that. No. Because that will make it hard to flip over because there's not a tremendous amount of wiggle room here. Okay, so here we are. No, that's not where we're here. So I might need to invest in a pair of pliers that have a little bit more. Oh, you son of a tax man. Um, oh, because that should be like that. And that came off of that. You. Oh, I know that'll go back in. Silly me. It's going to come up. Like that. No, you get out of the way. You get back down here. You got tangled. You donkey. Um, for those that grew up listening to the disgraced comedian Bill Cosby, you know exactly what the hell I just said. So you're. Oh, and you know what? Nope. Because. Fine, be that way. Because it's also going to have to pass back through that center ring that it came off of. So here we are. So come there. And this is why I wanted to work with something larger, because trying to do this with something smaller would just be so much more frustrating. Alright, so here we are. Now, that is going to come like that. And then we'll reverse it back, kind of through like that. Huzzah! It's a boy. Okay, and now we'll take this, and it is going to go like that. You mean person. Been hanging around Taco too much. My swearing's becoming nice. And there's nothing wrong with swearing nicely. Don't tell my wife I can do it. She'll make me do it at home. I mean, well, technically I'm home, but okay, so now here we go. And now we open that up. And now we do something smart, and we actually hold on to the ring so we don't drop it through stuff. And then flop that scale over. Kind of slip it in like that. And then you go ahead and you close it. Yay! One! Why does that look wonky on the back? So we've got through. Oh, because you rat son of a gun. All right. So now we find this. And there we are. Because it is copied. So when it is copied, it is no longer doing anything. So let's so we're taking it to that scale. We'll take it and run it under there. And under it through there. Run it back up into that scale. And we'll close that back off. I apologize if my huge cord is getting in the way. And then we'll try to pull everything back up, and nope. Son of a... I can fix that easy though. So the fun things that happen when you try something new. And then when you think, oh hey, this something new is super easy, let's go ahead and try to complicate it. So we take that out of there. And we take that out of there. We put that back through back here. And then we find that tiny little ring again. And we pass that puppy back. And someone is beepity beepity me. So bear with me one brief second while I figure out. All right. And I'm back over here. So, yay. I broken things and I fixed them again. So, then, yeah. Then I'll do that ring, etc. and so on, coming back around. So, bright aluminum is a very pretty finish on rings. My major problem with it is trying to open the little buggers. Because they do bud up so beautifully that it is difficult sometimes to find the split. So that you can reopen them. So you know what? Fine. Screw you, buddy. I'm going the other way. So simply find split. Simply is better said than done. My pliers might just be a little too thick to do this easily. But I don't let being too thick stop me in most things. So why the hell would I stop it? Let it stop me here. And take that in whatever sense that you feel, whether it is thick mentally or being morbidly obese. Ah, I caught you before you could escape and cause weird things to happen like your neighbor did, you rat bastard. All right, there we are. So now I take and I try to find the split here. Um, nice. And then there we go. We just open that just a smidge. We keep a good hold of it so that we can get the scale through. Yay! Two. Two. Two petals. Ah, ah, ah. There. There's the split. And we open it a smidge. We get a good hold of that ring. And you son of a gun. No, no. No, ha! Ha ha! Did you? Okay, so now we put that in there like that. Ha ha! You tried. What the hell is your other side? Nope. There you are. Aha! I'll make this look like I have a clue what the hell I'm doing. But I figured I'd try to do three very contrasting colors between the petals. And I'm not seeing anything come through as far as comments. That is also due to the, in part, by the fact that um, I do not see the comments on Facebook because I say things that on Facebook that my employer may not like. So see, howdy from Joe Doug. Take off my glasses so I can actually read my computer screen. Howdy from Joe Doug via Facebook. Joe Bachman saying video's looking good. Joe Dog agrees. Thank you guys. Um, good. So sometimes the only way I can actually find where the split is by raking along the ring with my fingernail and actually feeling the catch. Get back here. I know you're. Oh, you son of a creature, man. Great. Now that song's stuck in my head. Son of a preacher, man. And I'm probably singing it wrong because I haven't heard that song in way too long. And it has gone into hiding. We are searching for the elusive break in the ring so we can actually. So, for anyone tuning in who doesn't know a whole hell of a lot about chainmail, the type of chainmail that I am doing is called butted mail because the ends are butting up against each other. So we'll stick that in as such. Then we grab it. We'll pull it back up a little bit. Ooh, that was almost bad. Because the ends butt up against each other. This is often done to simulate the stuff you would have seen people wearing back in the Middle Ages, but that was a different kind of mail. That was a type of mail called riveted mail. So in that kind of mail, grab one of my rings here, grab one of my larger ones. So with butted mail, it's just these two pieces get butted up against each other. You just kind of twist and squeeze so that the edges actually meet. So that's what this is for, and this is basically what that's all about. Now, in a riveted mail, this end right here would be flattened. This end right here would be flattened. There would be a small hole between the two. They would go ahead and put the links in that needs to be put in. Then they would go ahead and they would get the rings together. But of course, in that case, it would be one over the other so that the hole is between the two. And then they would go ahead and put a rivet between the two and then peen that rivet over so that it is a much more secure kind of bite, kind of closure for the mail. And basically what that ends up doing is that makes it so if someone is hit with a hammer or a sword or something like that, it's not going to easily just get pulled apart because there's nothing really keeping that in place. So that's always one thing to keep in mind. So you'll see a lot of cosplayers and you'll see a lot of costumes that have this butted mail, simply because butted mail is a lot easier to do, and you do not need as much patience or skill. Not that you don't require some amount of skill to do this stuff, but you can't require a whole hell of a lot. I can do it. Is that a... Am I listening? Um, get back over here. Aha, you tried to sneak past me, you little bastard. So a lot of times if I don't have Facebook up and running right in front of my face as I'm doing these things, I will not see the Facebook comments. So anyone who does try to view me on Facebook, if I don't look over on Facebook, oh, I lucked out on that drop. I lucked out so hardcore, it is not even funny. And that, 1, 2. Did I put some stuff in the wrong? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's do this. So apparently, in one spot, I forgot to add the scale the proper way. Oh, be nice. Please be nice. Please. So I actually added a scale incorrectly. So now what we do is we just kind of rotate that up and around. And we do that. So now we've got there, there, there. I didn't add the other leg to this one. This one I am probably going to stop at 2 layers for now, and I will add the third layer petals later, because the second layer of petals is really kind of gotten on my nerves. Just it's been getting a little persnickety to try to get this son of a gun going and not to drop things like I did just there. And please. Oh yes, we're good. Nope, no, 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 no. All right, you stay right like that, and then you come through that backfire. You know what? I'm calling it there. I will come back and I will attempt this a little bit later on when I'm had a chance to cool down a little bit. It was great to see everyone. Everyone who's watched, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day and take a life.